and leave comments down below if you've watched. Oh! Oh, it was going so well! Let me take you guys back to March before everything in the world went down as it is. I had every intentions of going to the theaters and watching Sonic the Hedgehog, and then everything went down and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go to the theaters and watch Sonic the Hedgehog. And for whatever reason, April 16th got stuck in my head as the day I could rent this movie. Don't know where it came from. So March goes, April comes, April 16th arrives, and I'm like, yes! Today is the day I get to watch Sonic. I go on my TV to rent it. It's not available for rent, only purchase. And I'm like, hold the phone, what happened? So I get to looking on Google, May 19th is when you can rent this movie. I'm like, how did I mess that up? I don't know. So I'm sitting there thinking, do I want to buy this movie? I mean, I paid $20 for The Hunt, which if you have not seen that review, I will have it linked there and also in the description bar down below. But the difference with that one was it was $20 for renting that movie. The $20 here would be buying the movie. I would own it. And so I was like, you know what? I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this movie. It's James Marsden and Jim Carrey. Oh, I love those guys. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it. I will bite the bullet and spend the 20 bucks on it. I'm that confident in it. But before we get into the review, I want to take a moment and say, if you are not already, hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified when I upload videos in the future. Don't forget to give this video a like if you like it, and leave some comments down below of this movie if you liked it, if the review was captivating. Captivating. You know, was it interesting? What could be better? You know, we're still working and trying here. But let's get into this review. After discovering a small, fast blue hedgehog, a small-town police officer must help him defeat an evil genius that is bent on performing experiments on it. This movie is rated PG for action, some violence, rude humor, and mild brief language. Now, when I read those things, that kind of sounds a little PG-13 territory, and there are some moments that are kind of questionable, but collectively, overall, this is a solid PG, family-friendly film. Now, the rude humor is definitely more from Dr. Robotnik. He is a very self-absorbed character. He thinks highly of himself and that everybody around him is just complete idiots. So a lot of the rude humor stems from his character. A little bit of Tom, the brief mild language. One scene in particular that I can point out is at the very end. Tom starts to say son of a, and then it trails off. It doesn't finish, but obvious, if you know what should go at the end of that sentence, you know what should go at the end of that sentence. So that's one scene in particular that I can point out that stands out above everything else. The violence aspect is just, you know, Dr. Robotnik chasing after Sonic, trying to catch him and using whatever means necessary, the lasers in his machines and firing at him. So that's the violence aspect of the movie. Now, obviously, when this movie first previewed, fans had so much to say about the design of Sonic, and I'm not sure what they were thinking of when they threw that design out there. I mean, the teeth, just everything about it was just no. I don't know how they didn't expect fans to cry about it. And I know a lot of people, when that happened, everyone was like, oh, you're gonna make them go back and redesign that? No, like, how silly are you people that you can't just let it be? And it's like, no, this is an iconic character, okay? That would be like trying to change the design of Mario, of Pikachu, of Mickey Mouse. You know, this is an iconic symbol. Why wouldn't you try to do it right to start with? So I read the trivia. I think it cost him like $5 million. Fix that and edit if that is wrong. But yeah, and I'm like, that's kind of y'all dropping the ball. I mean, how did you not expect a reaction with that? But in the end, it worked out. The final design, he looks like Sonic from the games. If you're concerned about the shoes, you gotta watch the movie. He does get the shoes, so be patient. Do not crucify him for not giving him the shoes, okay? Now when the when the movie first starts, before even anything comes up, you'll get the iconic Sega logo that pops up. And when I seen it, I wasn't expecting them to do the sound, but the sound popped up into my head anyway, and you guys know the Sega sound. I don't think I could put it in without getting copyright, but you know, the and I was expecting it. I heard it in my head. No. What did they give us? I have no clue what they gave us, but that was not the iconic Sega that come from the game. It was more musical instead of sing-song. I don't know. It wasn't right. And so when I heard that, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. What was that? Are you not going to do other like iconic sounds from the game or no? But they did redeem themselves when we got introduced to the rings, the sounds when Sonic gets attacked and, you know, he loses the rings. You know, I can't do the sound effect, but you know the sound. When he loses the rings, when he picks up the rings, when he's having to do the, you know, the spinning thing, and he bumps into, you hear all these sounds. So they did redeem themselves there, even though we did not have the classic Sega intro, but it was there. Speaking of the intro, from the very beginning of the movie, it draws you in. I don't know about you, but it definitely drew me in. I was like, oh, what happened? Oh, he's a baby. Wait. Whoa. What is it? What? So yeah, it drew me in. It intrigued me from the very beginning. I was invested in the storyline. Again, trivia related here. I saw that they intended on this being an action film, and I'm sorry, I would not classify this as an action. It is very much a comedy. The writing in this, I adore it. It is so corny at sometimes and punny. I love it. I love the writing, okay? I am a sucker. There are multiple instances where James Marsden gets to show his comedic side, and I absolutely adore James Marsden. I have loved him for years. He's kind of an underrated actor. He's not, you know, like a top A-list, you know, like Johnny Depp, Brad Pitt, Russell Crowe. You know, he's not real well known, but I adore him and everything he's ever done. So him in this one, like I said, he got to bring out that comedic aspect. And very first scene you see him in, again, he's a small town cop. His name is Tom in the movie. He is a small town cop. Everybody knows everybody's scenario, and I can relate, Tom. I get it. And so the very first scene you see him, he's got his radar gun and he's sitting there and he's trying to find stuff, and there's a turtle that goes by and he's like, hey man, going too fast, and you slow it down. And so it's just little goofy humor like that. There's another scene further into the movie where Sonic is talking about having to escape to the mushroom planet, and Tom tells him something along the lines of, don't worry about it, at least you'll finally be the only fun guy around. And it's just that little punny situations. There's multiple instances throughout. Sonic calls Tom the Donut Lord, and his wife Maddie, played by Tika Sumpter, she is the pretzel lady. Speaking of her, she doesn't have a lot of screen time, but when she is on screen, she is very impactful. She has a sister named JoJo that has a daughter, which is where she gets to meet Sonic, and some stuff happens there. But she is hilarious, the sister JoJo. Again, Dr. Robotnik is played by Jim Carrey. Now, when he first comes on screen, in relation to all the other characters you've seen up to this point, he's a little much, okay? He does come out in a very Jim Carrey fashion. He is bold and he is big presence on screen, but at the same time, this is a kid's movie. He can be theatrical here. And again, that is kind of his personality. He wants to be seen. He wants to be heard. Even though he may be looking like a complete idiot sometimes, he's just this big personality. So it is a lot when you first meet him on screen. But as the movie progresses, you do get used to him. He does start out as, like I said, this really aggressive, pompous guy that belittles other people. And then as the movie progresses, he does get a little more malicious, a little more evil. And I know some people had a little issue with the fact that Jim Carrey is skinny and Dr. Robotnik in the games is this rotund man. Well, they do discuss that in the little trivia thing about how in earlier versions Robotnik was skinny, and as he further developed throughout the series, he becomes the rotund man that you see with big burly mustache. And they do address that a little bit in the movie towards the end, where you do see he start to develop into the character we kind of know him as in the game. Now, of course, we cannot go any further without talking about Sonic himself, voiced by Ben Schwartz. Now, the other thing to note is not only did Ben Schwartz get to voice Sonic, he actually got to use motion capture, and so those are his facial reactions as Sonic. He had a whole bunch of dots put on his face, and pretty much like I'm talking to you guys right now at a camera, he had to deliver his lines, and obviously they recorded that and they were able to input his facial motions into the final product of Sonic. And I was like, that is awesome. I love when they do that. Like, give it a little, there's different not cartoons, there's different animations and stuff out there where the character really looks like the voice actor, and I love when they do that and modify the character to look like the character that's actually voicing them or portraying them, whatever. So I absolutely love that idea. There are multiple scenes throughout where they show off and showcase Sonic's speed by slowing down everything around him. There's a scene with him at a ball field. There's multiple scenes, but one in particular is the bar fight scene. I just love that. I don't know what it is. It's just so brilliantly shot and executed, and everything fits together so seamlessly. It looks wonderful. Now, in terms of interacting with things that aren't there, this is not James Marsden's first time having to interact with something that's not physically on screen. You know, he played in Hop, where he had interacted with the Easter Bunny. He's been in Enchanted, where there was the cartoon come to real life, and then he's still having to interact with the squirrel in that one. So he's had to interact with things that aren't there, an actual counterpart before. And that being said, everything looked legit. You know, there's one scene where he's having to hold Sonic, and it actually looks right. There's only one time that I was like, you know, could have took a little extra effort there, and it's when he's got Sonic wrapped up in a blanket and the dog is trying to pull the blanket. That one is the only scene where I'm like, okay, that's not believable. That's not Sonic size that you're holding there. But every other instance where he's having to interact with Sonic, it looks good. And I know you know what I'm talking about, because there's multiple movies out there where it's CGI'd and stuff, and the characters having to interact, and they're supposed to like be petting a cat's head or a lion's head or something, and you can tell like their hand is up here and this is thing's head, and they're petting like this, and it's so far off, and I'm like, come on now. But you didn't have that issue, and like I said, has that under his belt, so everything looked wonderful and flowed together seamlessly there. Now, when the movie concludes, they do have a little cartoon game thing that kind of recaps everything you just watched, which is so fun to watch. But it does go back and put those sounds that you know from the game back in, and so it's fun just to watch that. And that's what got me to watch it, because I was like, oh, it's like a little cartoon recap of what we just watched. And then there's a mid-credit scene. I'm like, well, I'm glad I stuck around. Here we are, Marvel, giving us a mid-credit scene. All right, but I'm not going to tell you what character it is in case you want to be surprised, but they do introduce a new character that basically foreshadows them wanting to continue the Sonic saga, if you will. Now, on that topic, if you are familiar with the games, you know the reasoning of Sonic going from zone to zone and him trying to defeat Dr. Robotnik and all that entails. This movie, I believe, is more just setting you up and letting you know who Sonic is and how he come into his powers to be. And then this new character at the mid-credit scene showing up is setting up, I guess, for what the gamers know as being the landscape. How the way the movie ended plus that mid-credit scene is going to shift into what we see, I guess, towards the games. So this was just more of a let's get to know Sonic and establish who he is. So if you were looking for something true hardcore, this is actually what the game looks like. It's not going to be that. It is more open interpretation there. But it's, like I said, the mid-credit does lead you to believe that they do want to, and talking of that, I did read in the trivia that James Marsden has signed up to, you know, continue as many as they want. And I was like, yes, I'm so excited. James Marsden's gonna come back. Love him. But that's everything I got for you guys. Obviously, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I would definitely give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Why don't I give it that 5th star? I don't know, but I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Have you watched this movie yet? Or are you waiting until May 19th? That's the day it comes out for rent. Let me know what you think down below. What did you think of this review? You know the drill. Till next time, I will see you guys. Bye.